Hey, what's up? My name is Danny, aka Strimix, and in this DIY video I'm going to show you how to smoke your Golf mk3 or Vento headlights. So overall this is quite tricky to do and you need to be very careful, and you also need a lot of patience. Another thing we need is a flat screwdriver, a heat gun, a primer paint, matte black paint, and we need glue to put it all back together. So let's start.
Okay, so first of all, sorry, I have a cold, so I might sound a bit weird, but then again, I'm gonna do my best. So, first of all, we want to remove 4 metal clips. Now, there's 2 on the top of the headlight, and there is 2 on the bottom of the headlight. These clips don't hold the glass in place, they're just there for safety, and they compress the glass onto the plastic part. There's actually a layer of glue that holds the glass in place and seals it off, so yeah, all you want to do is just put a flat screwdriver underneath the clip and pop it up, and then they should come off like that. Sometimes these clips can be a bit rusty and they don't come off as easily, but just be careful and put a bit more force onto them and they should come off. So make sure that once they're off, you keep these clips in a safe place, because you will need them again in the end when we put everything back together. So make sure that you don't lose them. Okay, so for this step we will heat up the glue that holds the glass in place. Now we use a heat gun for this. There's also a way to do it with an oven, but I don't really know this method, so I can't really tell you how to do that. But basically you want to go around the headlight and make a full circle with the heat gun. Don't go too close and don't stay in one place for too long. And you want to repeat this for about 8 to 15 times, I think, and eventually it's warm enough to pull it off. Okay, so this is going to be my third attempt to pull the glass off, and at this attempt I finally managed to get it off. Now the glass is warm, so be careful, and you have to put quite a bit of force onto the glass. Now if you really can't get it off and you know for sure that the glue is warm enough, you can use a flat screwdriver. Just be careful that you don't chip the glass, and it's very easy to deform the plastic because that's very warm as well, so be careful with that and don't hit the inside of the headlight. Okay, so here is what is left of our headlight. Now the parts that we can smoke are the outside ring, the inside bottom part, this little triangle, and then on the top we have another small area that we can smoke. Now in my case the material is sort of wrinkly, and this might be different for you because you might have a different sort of headlight, but just try to follow up what locations I am smoking and think logically for what areas you can smoke on your headlight. Now the main area is this area, and you don't want to smoke this because this is what reflects your light. So make sure that you don't touch this area and you should be fine. Also, don't put any tape or whatsoever on the headlight because the chrome pulls right off. Before I start painting, I want to clean the surface, so I'm using a cloth to lightly rub all the areas I want to paint. Be careful and just make sure that there is no dust or grease left. Okay, so up to the painting itself. Now first of all we are going to apply a layer of primer or a ground base, whatever. As you can see, I'm using white. You can use a white or gray primer, and you should be fine if you use one of those. Just make sure that you are getting a good primer and not like a cheap cheap paint that will eventually fall off very easily. So just look into that, and it doesn't have to be super expensive. Just make sure that you have a good primer and a good paint. So up to the brush, I'm using a smaller, finer brush. And the reason for that is very simple. It's because I want to be precise in the edges. And in the edges, that's where areas touch where there should be paint and there shouldn't be paint. So if you use a smaller, finer brush, you can be a lot more precise and, you know, not spill as much paint on the areas where there shouldn't be any paint. Of course, you can't really stop it. You will hit just over the edge a little bit every now and then. But that's fine, that's human, and you won't really see that back in the end result. Well, you won't see that back in the end result. But as long as it's just a minimal piece of paint that goes over the edge. If you get like a big smudge of paint over the edge, then you will see that back in the end result. Now, if you happen to spill paint on an area where there shouldn't be any paint, you could use a thin cloth and some thinner, but make sure that you don't hit the thinner on the actual paint, because it will just eat it up and it will look a mess. So just do that after it's all dried up, and just very lightly go over the mistakes with that cloth and you should be fine. But really, if you have minimal paint on areas where there shouldn't be paint, then you will be absolutely fine. So just leave it there and make sure that if you spill primer somewhere, that you paint that black as well. So yeah, just follow this step and you should be fine. And for the next 3 layers of black, the procedure of doing this is just exactly the same, but then with a black paint. Also, I'm not showing you the inside top part, but don't forget that. And also, if you look at the outer ring, then on the outside there is a little edge that bends outwards or inwards, whatever. But don't forget that, as I'm not showing you that. So we are ready to apply a first black layer. I'm not going to tell you how to do this because it's just exactly the same as with the white primer. It's just black paint. So I'm using a matte black paint, which just gives the nicest result. But if you want, you can be original and use any color for different outcomes. You know, just experiment in whatever you want. So basically, you want to make sure that the white primer is dry, fully dried up, before you apply the black. Because if you paint black over a white primer that is still wet, then it will start to mix up and you will have a gray outcome. And it will just look a mess. So make sure that it's dry, and if you want, you can use a heat gun to make it dry a little bit quicker. Just be careful that it doesn't start to bubble or crack. So this is basically the same step for all 3 layers of black. Okay, just for the sake of it, here you see the end result of my first layer of black, and now I am applying a second layer of black, because if you can see layer 1 versus layer 2, there's a big difference. Layer 1 didn't really cover it at all, and layer 2 does. Now you can't really tell that in the video, but once it dried up, it did need another layer to really finish it off and to really be black. So yeah, just to be safe, apply 3 layers of black, and make sure that the second layer and third layer are nice and thick, and you know, just use quite a bit of paint on your brush. Now unfortunately I can't show you the third layer and the result of the third layer, because the video I shot for that is being corrupted. So yeah, sorry for that, but just picture it as being all black, and you will notice it yourself when you have hit the final result, and once you did, you can go on to the next step. So before we move on, I want to show you a product that I use. It's called backlight spray. It's a transparent black and it's made for taillights and headlights. Now you can use this stuff to, you know, just give the whole end result an extra tint. And I'm gonna spray it on my inside of the glass. You want to apply just one layer and it will just help to give that smoke an extra cool look. So here I am painting the inside of the glass. I apply just one layer. First of all I take the edges and then I move on to the flat part. Now you want to make sure that you don't stay in one place for too long. Just go from left to right and from right to left, and that's fine. You should be fine. Apply just one layer because otherwise it will be too dark. Just let it dry for about 10 minutes, use your heat gun, and it will look absolutely cool. The glass is dried up and now we can glue everything back together. Go to your local shop and ask them what glue you need, because I don't really know what glue you need, depending on where you're from. But just fill it up in these grooves and make sure that you don't leave anything out. We can now glue the glass back on. It will be a bit messy, but that's fine, because once you compress the glass onto the headlight unit, the excess glue will squirt out and you can wipe that away. And then after that you want to click the metal clips back on and let it dry for a full day. And then you're done and you'll have your smoked headlight. So thanks for watching. I hope you succeed in doing this mod, and I hope you have a lot of fun with it. And again, be patient. And here we have the end result, a standard headlight versus my smoked headlight, and you can really tell the difference and it just looks amazing. So again, thanks for watching and see you later.